everybody, it's Kathy Ondas with Simply Cards by Kathy. Thank you for being patient while I try to work with Facebook. For some reason it won't allow me to go horizontal, so I will try really hard to keep everything within your vision. Today is Monday. It is February 7th, 2022. And today I wanted to go over with you, I'm going to show you the All Together collection, but it's not so much today's video about putting together a card as much as it is about using the Natural Tone Stampin' Blends collection. So let me just take a moment to go over the All Together collection with you. This right now is available between February 1st and May 2nd. And it consists of a stamp set, the Here Together bundle, which is dies and stamps, and I'm going to pull mine in for you to see in just a second. It also consists of the All Together paper in its 48 pieces of 6x6 sheets. And I'm going to bring those in. Those are black and white. And then the Natural Tone Stampin' Blend collections. Now with this a suite or bundle, everything will be available while supplies last, except for the Natural Tones Stampin' Blends collection. That will be available with the new 2022-2023 catalog that will premiere on May 3rd. But the rest of this, the Here Together stamp set, the Here For You dies, and the All Together Designer Series paper is available only while supplies last. So I have used the paper, the stamps, and the blends, and some of the dies to show you today. But again, I'm going to focus more on how to use those Natural Tones Blends collection, because it takes, they're beautiful, but it takes a little bit of work. So let me move this off, and I'm just going to bring in the stamp set to show you, so that you can see the dies. A lot with hearts and hands together. Some really nice sayings. I promise we'll get through this together. You matter to me. Every act of kindness changes the world, and love changes everything. And then you have a set of Here For You dies. One of them says, die cuts out, you matter. A second one is a large die cut that says Here For You. And we're going to use the You Matter today. And then these will cut out the stamps of the pinky fingers entwined. And it's kind of sticking there. And then this one will cut out the stamp set that shows the heart. So I'm going to move those off, and then bring in just quickly some of the sheets of paper for you. You can see there's a lot of stripes, geometrics. Everything is black and white, so it's versatile, and you're able to use it for many other stamping projects. Okay. And then if you turn it over, you have some circles, some squares, some just geometric shapes. But two of the pieces that I really like, and that you're going to see that we're going to use this one today. And then there's another one with a set of 4 hands entwined. And I thought I had it here for you, but I guess not. But I'm going to show you a piece of it. So this is the one we're going to use today. And what I did is, you can cut this. This is a 6x6. If you cut it right down the middle at 3 inches, you can use the whole piece, or you can take pieces, parts of it. And we're going to use, what I did is cut a piece of it for us to use today. And that's how I'm going to demonstrate how to use the blends. Now another piece is one, and I have used a piece of it, but it's the 4 hands entwined. And if you cut these at 3-inch squares, you get 4 out of one piece of paper. So I'm going to bring in the Stampin' blends. And they consist of 5 sets. Now these are very different than our other Stampin' blends. They don't come in light and dark, but how they actually come, let me turn it so you can see it better, is they're numbered. And they're numbered starting at 100 through 1,000. And the 100 is the darkest color. And if you look at these carefully, you can see that there are some red tones to some and some yellow tones to the other. And the idea is that you use them, blending them to get the colors that you want. And I'm going to be honest, they're easy to use, but it took me a little bit in learning how to use them. But I'm going to show you so that you don't go through that. I did make a sample of my colors. All I did was take a piece of scrap cardstock, and I did use cardstock so that I get the most natural color from it. And I did put the number of the color blend along down each side. So that's a help. I'm going to move these off here to the front. And then I'm going to bring in, I made a Stampin' Blend skin tone. And what I did with this is I'm going to put this on my website so that for those of you that do have it or plan on getting it, you can print it and do your skin chart. All I did was take my Stampin' Blend, the 100 color, and I put a piece of it or a mark from it along each row. And then I went in with the next color, such as right here was 100. I put that in, and then under the 200, I put the 100 in, and then I put the 200 in next to it. So you can see where they kind of blended together. And here's a good one, where I did the 400 first, blended the 300 on top, and moved out for the 300, so that you can see the different colors that you can get with these skin tones. And I'm just going to move it across for you. So I will post that up on my website. Feel free to print it and use it. So I'm going to bring in quickly here 2 of the cards I made, just so you can see how I used the Stampin' Blends. This is that 3x3 piece of entwined hands. And I used different colors to bring in the skin tones, and we're going to go through that. And this one says love changes everything. And then this one is I brought in the 2 entwined pinky fingers and used my colors for the skin tones. And this one says every act of kindness changes the world. And I one of the stamps is like a sunbeam, so I stamped that in Daffodil Delight. So let's move these off. I'm going to bring in our card, and just to let you know, all the measurements will be in my post. But here I chose to use gray granite, and you can see that I did emboss it ahead of time, and I used just the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. And then I also went ahead and I cut out using one of the dies, You Matter, but I didn't cut it out of cardstock. I actually cut it out of one of the designer series paper that goes with this bundle. So, and then a piece of black cardstock to mat. So I'm going to start off with the hands, and here there's 4 of them. parts to them. So let's just start, and I'll show you how to use them. I'm going to start first with a darker color. I'm going to use the 400. And what I'm going to do is just come in and I'm going to outline parts of my hand using the darker color. And then I'm going to come in with my lighter color. Now this was 400. So I'm going to come in now with my 600. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull that color in because I want it to blend. Now when you're using the blue to use without smearing, you don't want to use your StazOn. The other thing is when you stamp, and you can see I went out of the line a little bit. When you're using the blends, you want to go almost to the line, but with these wider end brushes, not always right up to it, because what can happen is it kind of, you bump it and it goes over. But with the Memento ink, you won't get the bleeding. So there's our first hand. Now I'm going to go in with, let's go in with a lighter tone. And again, this is my dark. So I try not to take it right up so that I don't go out of the lines like I did with that other one. It was good for you to see. We all make mistakes. And then just outlining the edge of the hand with the dark color. And this one was 700. So now I'm going to come in with my 900. And it is confusing that the lighter colors are the higher numbers. But I love these blends because it gives you a variety of skin tones. And I think they look more natural. The other thing is you don't have to use them for just skin tones. I've used some of the browns with my my other stamp sets. One of them was actually the Nuts About You squirrels. This did a great job in coloring the squirrels. I loved it. So it's not just for skin tones, but that is actually the intent when Stampin' Up! Made them. Now I try to go in one direction and straight down. I don't go back and forth, and I'll tell you why. When I first started using the blends, I would go back and forth and think, geez, these are so smooth to use. But if you go back and forth, it causes some pilling of your paper, and you actually ruin the tip of your blend. It'll kind of start to fray. So I try really hard not to do that. So here's our next one. And this is the one, 900, I believe. Yep, 900. And I'm going to go for a lighter skin tone here. And I'm just outlining the edges with my darker one. And now I'm going to come in with the 1000, which is really light. You know, before we had these, all we really had to use for skin tone was the Stampin' lens pair that had the ivory in it, the ivory and the brass. But this gives us much more diversity in being able to use these. Leave me a comment if any of you have purchased these already and if you've used them and what your thoughts are, how you found them to use. The other thing I wanted to tell you is when I'm using any of my Stampin' blends, I use the thick white cardstock because just to show you, they do go through. This is not cardstock. This is a piece of the Designer Series paper, but I do use my thicker cardstock. I'm going to go in now and let's use, we're going to go the darkest skin tone that I can use here. I like the wider brushed tip for most coloring. I do use the finer tone or finer tip when I'm using some detail work. The other thing I'm going to show you is we're going to use the color lifter when we're using this. And that will lift up some of our color and give us a little bit of a lighter tone. So this set is available for purchase now. And again, everything is available only while supplies last, except for the Natural Tones blends. Those will be in our new catalog coming out in May. So if you have any questions or you need more information, please contact me. Just go right up to the top and click on that button, which will take you to my website, and hit contact me and send me an email. Now we're going to try something. I'm going to let that dry for a minute, and we're going to go on to the last part. And then we're going to try to lift some of that color up with our color lifter. This was 500, and I'm going to come in with the 600. Now, if for any reason you want to go back over these, you want to give them a chance to dry, because your color actually blends and changes as these Stampin' blends dry. So give it a minute and you'll be able to see the difference in some of these. Now let's go back in here and let's just lift some of the color. This is my color lifter. And you can see it kind of takes a little bit of it off and brings it out. Okay. And now we're going to do just that little hand here, and kind of came from my trimming the paper down. I'm going to try to take this little bit off where I went out with the color lifter. And I'm trying to be really careful. And I just give it a second before I do any more. So here's our hands. What do you think? I really like it. And I like that it allows for the diversity. So I'm going to bring in my card base. And what we had here was a, and again, all the measurements. I can't remember what this is, but it was for matting. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to adhere this with some of our tape. And you can see when I turn this over how the Stampin' blends do bleed through. So let's go ahead and we're going to put this right here. And I'm going to adhere this to the bottom. And this is cut so it actually went clear across the card. So the black is cut at 4 1/4. And I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. So let's pull those in here. So I hope you enjoyed the video today with using the Stampin' blends or the color skin tones. Also, don't forget that celebration is going on till February 28th, that for every $50 purchase, doesn't matter if it's from the new mini catalog or whether it's from our annual catalog, you get to pick a free product for every $50 out of the celebration brochure. Also, if you don't have a catalog or you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be honored to be your demonstrator and love to be able to work with you. Just contact me. I'll be more than happy to put a catalog in the mail for you and help you in any way I can. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm just going to put it right about here. And then we have our You Matter, which I wanted right up at the top. So I'm going to bring in my glue, my multi-purpose glue. And I'm going to bring in my mat, because any of you that's ever watched me know I'm pretty messy when it comes to using the glue. That is, if I can find my mat. Here it is. So all I'm going to do is turn this over and I'm just going to give it a few little dots here and there for it to stick. The other thing you can do is you can put some glue right on your silicone mat and take a craft sponge and just kind of, which is what I'm going to do. For those of you that haven't done it actually, to show you. So I just take my glue, I spread it out, and then I just dab my die cut with it. And I make sure to get the ends. And glue is always messy, so one of the things you can do is keep some hand sanitizer on your crafting area, and it will remove the glue from your hands wonderfully so that it doesn't get all over everything. So let's press that down. And the reason I do like to use I always like to use glue when I'm using a dry embossed surface, because it seems to stick better. So here's the front of our card, and let's just decorate it up a little bit with some of the matte black dots. Let's put one over here, and let's put one here. So there's our card using the blends, and let's bring in our others. This is the one that I did before. And then here's our third one. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it showed you how to use the new, gosh, my mind just blanked, Natural Tones Stampin' Blends collection. And I hope to see you real soon. I will be back on Thursday where I'll be posting a video and another post to the blog. I will have the blog post and the video up in just about an hour. I hope you have a great Monday and see you soon. Bye.